Welcome back. So as we told you, 50 points lower on the SGX Nifty, but there's lots of stock-specific action today, including the newsmaker. So let's straight away get to it. Anuj, what's top of mind for you today?
Well, top of mind, of course, will be the companies that came out with numbers, but I'll leave the team to discuss those. I'll discuss some of the stocks where I'm seeing some very interesting delivery patterns and chart patterns, Surabhi. I think this entire capital goods space is the one to focus on because, if you've noticed, most of the sectors are making a move back towards 200-day moving average. Capital goods still is some distance away. So some of these stocks, it started already, by the way, with names like Cummins, etc. doing well. So the Siemens kind of stock, I think they can do well. And I think, to add to the point, Lata was saying that perhaps I've not done any consumption over the last 2 months. I did step out over the weekend and, bought a pizza from Domino's. And I can tell you that, over there, the demand is almost back to full time, at least for, dine out and takeaways. And with the, now restaurants opening up with some kind of caveats, I think that could be a space to focus on, perhaps.
Okay, that's good to hear, Anuj, that you saw a lot of people there because I've been buying one meal. It's not possible for me to cook 4 meals. Okay, in any case, actually there is less pain in the financials than we thought. That seems to be the early indication. Abhishek, the early numbers from Bajaj Finance and Bandhan Bank?
Well, Lata, for Bajaj Finance, the moratorium book is now down to 15.5% as on June 20 when compared to about 27% that they saw in April 2020. So the AUM growth is on the weakest side that they have ever seen, growing at just 7% YOY while declining by 6.5% quarter on quarter. The new loans, that is at 17 lakhs, down about 77% YOY and about 71% sequentially. Customer acquisition remained on the lower side, growing at just 0.9% quarter on quarter. Remember that for any financial entity, once you are off the growth track, it is very difficult to come back. Bandhan Bank, they surprised on the positive front in terms of their deposit momentum, which was strong at 35% YOY and about 6.2% quarter on quarter. Loan growth momentum tapered down to a little under 18% YOY and about 3.5% quarter on quarter. However, the CASA or the low cost deposit, they have grown very strong at 47% YOY and about 7% sequentially. So the moratorium, which formed about 71% as on April 2020, is now down to micro banking moratorium at 30%, non-micro banking moratorium at just 16%. Back to you.
Okay, Abhishek, thanks a lot for that. Let's see, because stocks have been surging, so perhaps the market knew some part of that. But Godrej Consumer, that number looked quite good, Mangalam, in context of the overall scenario.
It's absolutely right, Anuj. In fact, the street was bracing itself for a decline primarily because Marico reported a low teen sort of decline as well, which is why the stock was subdued yesterday. But then post-market, we got the update, and out there, yes, the sales will decline over the previous year, but 66% of their business has done fairly well, especially the Indian business, which accounts for 50% of their revenue. Out there, the company saw a mid-single-digit sales growth led by volumes. So in this scenario, the G word, growth word, is something that the street would latch onto. What did well for their portfolio? It was the household insecticides as well as hygiene products did fairly well, sign of times, and what did not do too well for them was hair colors. Indonesia as well saw mid-single-digit sort of growth. That is a positive. What did not do too well was Africa, and that is something that the street had factored in already. The stock was subdued yesterday, so we'll keep an eye out on how it performs today. My sense is see a big green tick, primarily because the street did not expect growth to come by for Godrej Consumer.
Okay, the stock has had a massive 66% rally from the lows, so let's see how much of that is in the price. But Godrej Consumer surely on our radar. Sonia, good morning. Bajaj Auto, those fears that we were discussing with Rajiv Bajaj yesterday on the show, they came true. So lockdown in Aurangabad?
Yes, in fact, the Aurangabad authorities have announced that they will lock down from 10th to 18th of July. Now, remember, Bajaj Auto's Waluj facility gives them 50% of production just from one facility. So, if they decide to lock it down or, shut down production temporarily, then there's going to be a lot of uncertainty. In any case, we're hearing reports that workers are not turning up to the plant to work because of the, rise in COVID cases. I did reach out to the management and they indicated to me that they are not in favor of shutting down the Waluj plant. Something that they've been saying for a while. They will take a call on shutting down the facilities over the next few days itself. If they do shut down, which in all likelihood they would have to, then they will cut wages by 50%, and that's unfortunate. They say that the workers and the employees are the ones that will have to suffer. Bajaj Auto will recover their production loss worst case by early August. Q2 will be unaffected for Bajaj Auto despite the lockdown, they say. So it's unfortunate, a lot of uncertainty, and hence I'm going with red for the stock. Back to you.
Okay, thanks a lot for that. Any lockdown, I guess, would be red. But Yash is finally lighting us up with some interesting story. Enough of COVID and lockdown. Yash, there is a glowing battle out there between the FMCG guys.
Absolutely a very interesting legal battle this time around as HUL has moved Bombay High Court seeking injunction against Imami's claims over the use of the trademark Fair and Handsome. Now what we're given to understand is that HUL has said that if Imami intends to take a legal proceeding against HUL on the use of trademark Glow and Handsome, then it will have to give HUL an intimation of 7 days prior to the initiation of that legal proceeding. The Bombay High Court, of course, heard the merits of this very prayer put forward by HUL. They essentially said that all the prayers put forth by HUL, it looks like prima facie HUL was an early adopter of the term Glow and Handsome, and hence Imami will have to give HUL a prior intimation of 7 days before initiating any legal proceeding. The matter though will be heard on July 27th now.
Okay, well, July 27th is the date, so we'll wait for that. But Mangalam, back to you, and like we're discussing some positive for hotel stocks, partial opening.
Yes, there is partial opening announced for hotel stocks, but not sure whether it would move the needle too much for them or not, because the authorities have said that hotels in non-containment zones can open with 33% occupancy or 33% capacity. Now in these hotels, even if the occupancy is around 60% the overall occupancy would be around 18 to 19%. So not sure whether this would still be financially viable for hotels or not, but definitely a sentiment positive. But the only dampener there could be the fact that they're also suggesting the remainder 67% of a capacity should be given as quarantine facilities. Now that would be a bit of a sentiment dampener for people who would want to go to those hotels as well, because the customers may not want to go into a hotel which is also a quarantine facility. So we'll have to keep an eye out on how this goes, but any up move would purely be sentimental is what I guess.
I really wonder how they design some of these rules. Take that point completely, Mangalam. Let's see how this plays out. Nigel, good morning. So what's on your radar today?
Well, tracking two stocks, so it'll be a couple of them that came out with a set of numbers late in the day, but yes, they did come out. NBCC, well, those numbers look quite disappointing. The revenues came in down by close to around 17% odd, and the margins got crunched. That's because the lucrative real estate division didn't do well at all, and on the back of that, the margins have come down to around 2%. That compares with around 5%. The profitability as well did see a sharp downtick, correcting close to around 40% on a year-on-year basis. The other one we're looking at is IFB Industries. Well, the revenues degrew by close to around 22%. Out there, margin compression yet again. It came in only at around 1% odd, and in fact, that compares with 5% on a sequential basis. It reported a net loss of around 20 crores odd. So both these two numbers go down as a weak set of numbers. Back to you all.
Thank you very much for that, Nigel. By the way, Surabhi, Anuj, you can still go to a hotel in the hills, right, where you can't possibly have a containment zone. I mean, who would go and want to use the 66% of containment in, say, Taj Chiploon? I don't know whether it's still called Taj Chiploon. There are hotels in the hills. Maybe we should seek out. At least I am. Okay, Rima, sorry, to come back to business, what are the other stocks you're watching?
Well,
Well, there is some fundraising via rights issues. It's been announced by one Shriram Transport and two PVR. So first, the details on the Shriram Transport rights issue. They will be allotting 3 shares for every 26 shares that you hold. The rights issue price is at 570, which is about an 18% discount where the stock closed yesterday, and the total size is 1,500 crore rupees. PVR has said that they will be allotting 7 shares for every 94 shares that you hold at a price of 784. So that's a discount of close to about 27%, and they will be raising about 300 crore rupees via the rights issue. Moving on to another topic, there are reports which suggest that Franklin Templeton has got the High Court nod to sell pledged shares. So that would put the spotlight on names like Zee Entertainment and Dish TV. But this is what we've picked up from reports. We haven't confirmed it as of now. Back to you.
Okay, well, thanks to all of you for taking us through the list of top 10 stocks. But before we take a break, let's also put the commodity cues on table. Manisha Gupta is joining in. Manisha, good morning.
Morning, Anuj, and thank you so much for that. But it really has to do with the very positive data that we are dealing with. The US ISM non-manufacturing shows that the numbers have come in for the month of June to the pre-COVID level. And that's exactly what we have seen in sense of rebound in the jobs numbers, retail sales, not just in US, but Chinese and the European numbers. Most of them have been positive. That has led to a decline in US dollar and a support in case of commodities. So you have the crude oil prices trading at a 4-month highs. Early Asia, we did see 43 take on as well. At this point in time, a bit of a decline, but it has to do with the strong string of economic data, which is showing recovery, which has been supportive. Base metal prices also have seen some strength. You have nickel trading at a 5-month highs. There is strong demand from the stainless steel sector. Copper also trading at a 5-month highs. There are supply disruptions in mines in South America. And today is the day when you have seen strength come back for gold as well. So trading very close to those 8-year highs for that too.
Okay, thanks a lot for that. And that's important, Manisha, because it's quite possible that the metal pack, you know, the JSWs, Vedanta, Tata Steels and all, are going to take some bullish cues from what you're saying. With that note, we are going to go into a break and welcome back Deepan Mehta, who will join in to analyze some of the overnight cues.